The Zephyrian interrogation complex had never failed to break a prisoner. For 3 centuries, the crystalline towers had extracted confessions, battle plans, and state secrets from every species the Empire had encountered. The Zephyrians took pride in their methods. Psychological manipulation refined to an art form, environmental controls that could drive any mind to madness, and neural probes that could unlock the deepest memories. Then they captured Commander Sarah Chen. She had been leading a human reconnaissance mission when Zephyrian forces ambushed her ship near the Kepler Nebula. While her crew escaped in the pods, Chen remained behind to ensure their safe departure, ramming her damaged vessel into the Zephyrian flagship's engine bay. She survived the crash barely, and found herself in the Empire's most secure facility within days. High Interrogator Vexhai examined the human female through the observation port. She appeared unremarkable. Bipedal, soft-skinned, lacking the natural armor of the Keltorians or the mental shielding of the Scion Collective. Her species was relatively new to the galactic stage, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 2 centuries prior. By all accounts, they should be easy to break. "Begin the standard protocol," Vexhai commanded his subordinates. "Sensory deprivation, then environmental stress. We need the location of their hidden colonies." The first phase lasted 37 days. They sealed Chen in absolute darkness and silence, monitoring her vital signs as her isolation stretched on. Most species began showing signs of psychological breakdown within a week. The human adapted. She created routines, exercises, mental puzzles, even conversations with imaginary companions. When they finally opened her cell, she greeted them with a sardonic smile. "Finished redecorating?" she asked. The silence was nice, but the lighting could use work. Phase 2 introduced temperature extremes, irregular feeding schedules, and sleep disruption. Chen's body showed signs of stress, but her mind remained sharp. She memorized guard rotations, mapped the facility's layout through sound and vibration, and somehow maintained her sense of humor despite the conditions. "The food's terrible," she told Vexhai during their first direct interrogation. "Have you considered hiring a human chef? We've got this thing called seasoning. It's revolutionary." By the 3rd month, Vexhai found himself genuinely curious about this specimen. He authorized neural probes, expecting to crack her mind like an egg. Instead, the technicians reported anomalous readings. The human brain showed patterns they had never encountered, compartmentalization that defied their understanding, and emotional responses that seemed to strengthen rather than weaken under stress. "Your species is fascinating," Vexhai admitted during one session. "Most beings seek to avoid pain. You seem to transform it into something else entirely." Chen regarded him with those strange human eyes, not the compound organs of his people, but simple spheres that somehow conveyed depths of meaning. "Pain is information," she said. "Information about what I can endure, what I can overcome, and what I'm willing to sacrifice for something greater than myself." The interrogations continued for months. Vexhai employed techniques that had broken warrior philosophers and ascetic monks. He tried to exploit what his xenopsychology texts identified as human emotional vulnerabilities, attachment to family, fear of death, concern for their species' survival. Each attempt seemed to strengthen Chen's resolve rather than weaken it. Meanwhile, something unexpected began happening throughout the facility. The guards started talking about the human prisoner who thanked them for meals, who asked about their families, who somehow maintained dignity in circumstances designed to strip it away. Her behavior sparked conversations about the nature of strength and the purpose of their empire's expansion. Junior interrogator Kexmar was the first to voice doubts openly. After witnessing Chen comfort a Zephyrian technician whose mate had died in a recent battle, despite her own captivity, he began questioning the righteousness of their methods. His dissent spread through the ranks like a virus. The breaking point came during the 8th month. Chen had been subjected to their most advanced neural manipulation, a process that typically left subjects as hollow shells. Instead, she emerged from the chamber and looked directly at Vexhai. "I know what you're afraid of," she said quietly. "You're afraid that if you stop expanding, stop conquering, your people will realize there's no meaning in what you've built. That's why you can't break me. I already know who I am and what I stand for. You're still trying to figure that out." Her words hit harder than any military strike. Vexhai realized that months of observing human resilience had fundamentally altered his worldview. The Empire's greatest interrogator had been interrogated by his subject. The revolution began within the complex itself. Guards refused orders, technicians sabotaged equipment, and administrators began documenting the Empire's systematic brutalities. Chen became a symbol, not of human superiority, but of the possibility that strength could exist without cruelty, that power could serve something beyond itself. When the human rescue fleet finally arrived, guided by intelligence Chen had somehow smuggled out through converted guards, they found the Zephyrian interrogation complex in full revolt. HFY himself opened the facility's shields and welcomed them as liberators. Standing in her cell doorway as rescue teams approached, Chen looked back at the Zephyrian interrogator who had become her unlikely ally. "Your people aren't evil, HFY. They were just afraid. Fear makes us do terrible things to feel powerful." "And what made you different?" he asked. She smiled, that inexplicable human expression that somehow conveyed warmth despite everything she had endured. "I was afraid too, but I chose to be afraid for others instead of afraid for myself. That made all the difference." The Zephyrian Empire didn't collapse overnight, but the cracks had been revealed. Across dozens of worlds, stories spread of the human who had transformed her captors through the simple act of refusing to surrender her humanity. Chen had done more than survive her imprisonment. She had weaponized compassion, turning the Empire's greatest strength into its fatal weakness. In the end, they had tried to break one human prisoner and instead broke the philosophical foundation that held their civilization together. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from fighting monsters, but from refusing to become one.